Okay, sweetie, here we are, reporting live from the beating heart of Nutmeg Country.
Cable actuated and opinionated.
This is Alt Bike Now,
Alternative radio.
for alternative cyclists. I'm your host, Ronnie Romance.
And I'm your other host, Arya Nuts. Thanks for joining us.
Nuts. I really do enjoy a nut, as you know. What's your favorite?
I'm a nut. I like the slivered almonds right now.
Yeah.
It's easy to chew.
I toast those up, put them in my granola, a little olive oil, maple syrup, a little salt.
You know, I've also been loving your olive oil and maple syrup combo.
That's a great combo,
yogurt.
Everyone.
It's really
Try it
good.
in your yogurt.
Yeah, I'm loving that right now.
My favorite nut is roasted cashews.
Oh, I also like a good pecan.
Brazil nuts, macadamia nuts, your filberts, that's a macadamia nut. We can really get into the, what is that?
You're like Bubba Gump shrimp. Like, we got almonds, we've got slivers.
Is that Best in Show where Christopher Guest lists off all the nuts that he likes? One of my favorite
pull
movies.
That one up?
Okay, well, not to talk about nuts anymore. Let's get into the nuts and bolts here, shall we?
Okay, all right. I like that. We got a nut and we got a bolt.
So, we can get right into headlines here. We're gonna kind of like hold off a little bit on all of our pro cycling news because there are plenty of other sources there you can get that, and they
do it better.
They actually might be accurate.
More information, correct information. Yeah.
So I'm just gonna get right into this. If anybody actually follows professional racing and is listening to us, right away last week, what did I say in the Giro d'Italia that Milan had won stage 3 or whatever after all those crashes? But no, he did not. I just wanted to talk about how hot he is.
Yeah.
So I think in the front of my brain, I was like, of course Milan won. He's gorgeous.
Yeah.
But it was actually...
But he was really close.
He was
Remember,
close.
like that other guy...
He got second. Well, Paul Manier.
Okay.
Paul Manier.
Okay.
Another Frenchman named Paul, which is, we talked about Paul's sexy ass the weeks prior, which again, we could get into trouble calling a 19-year-old a sexy ass.
Oh my God.
But Paul Manier may be only a few years older, if any, but another up and coming French star. Okay. As a sprinter. And,
he's up there.
One-day racer.
Yeah.
He's doing great. He's won some other races earlier in the year, which I can't. Anyway, that's who won that race. So sorry for the confusion, but I hope you all looked up photos of Jonathan Milan.
He is beautiful.
Him, I'll say it again, him and Filippo Ganna, Top Ganna. Look them up. They got fan clubs because they are that handsome.
Ronnie's bricked up for him.
Yes.
I just learned that term yesterday.
Did you have any just like quick pro? Obviously, the Giro is still going on. We missed a number of stages because of our weekend event, which we're going to get into when I get into real life report backs. Of course, the Nutmeg Country Spring Fling was this past weekend. We'll get into that later in the episode.
Yeah, so, I could get into covering like gravel and US stuff, but the coverage, the broadcasts are just not that good, and it loses my attention. ADD, easiest. Let's go talk about something else.
You're right about the pro.
Hard to cover.
Patrick, friend of the pod.
Best friend of Ronnie's. Ultra Tradition.
Hi,
Patrick.
Other half of Ultra Dynamico. He's been really good. He watched pro cycling. In my 10-year hiatus from pro cycling, he kept on watching it. Being Ultra Tradition.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's really gotten into watching U.S. gravel stuff, which is surprising to me because he doesn't like anything U.S. generally. And so he seems to love it. And it's the Lifetime series, which is like the pro gravel series in the U.S. is they put out like an hour episode, like almost immediately after each race.
Yeah.
So you could follow it pretty well if you wanted to, but there's just something about it. It just doesn't do it for me. It's just not exciting. It's just like a bunch of there's not a storyline like pro road racing, I guess. Like the characters aren't as interesting to me, probably because they're not as, I don't know, there's something about the traditional European...
There's no Ghana or Milan that you can lust after.
Yeah, who's a hottie in pro U.S. gravel?
I don't know.
Egan Swenson, not hot. I mean, sorry,
Okay,
Keegan, if you're listening to this.
This is rude. This is hot or not. Like, we're not doing that. So mean.
I mean, he could be considered. All right.
All right, getting back into it.
Getting back into it. Please email us some hotties in the U.S. gravel racing scene. Now there's a Euro gravel racing scene.
That's so true. Very different though.
Very different. It's a totally different sport.
What do you think is the difference between American and Euro gravel? Because Wout won a stage, or Wout won a gravel race. He just showed up.
A UCI. In Europe, UCI runs the show, for better or for worse. Generally for worse. And yeah, so aside from the rainbow bands you get to wear as a pro, as a world champion of gravel. Who is the world champion of gravel this year?
This year, who was it?
Oh my God. I know. I just looked at the pictures not long ago. But anyway, they're people.
Was it Mathieu?
No, that was the first year. The year prior.
Before?
Anyway.
Could it be Todd? Is it Todd?
No, it's not. But I'm sure it will be. You like UCI Euro gravel is really where the pros go after they're done being pros, and they can live out their second or third cycling lives as pro gravel athletes. And I find the racing in Europe to be a bit more exciting. It's actually more of a mixed surface type of event. It's more of like a Roubaix with more dirt tracks, and honestly, sometimes little farmy single tracks, and it's more of what I think you would imagine to see around here in New England. It's basically New England is more Euro gravel, and the U.S. gravel scene is basically defined by the big Midwest gravel races like Unbound and etc., where where you're doing 100 to 200 miles on all gravel roads at super high speeds, and there's not much variation in the terrain, so to speak. It's kind of it's cool that you're on gravel the whole time, but it's just not very interesting. The actual race tactics are not very, you can't easily spot them happening. You can't spot the move because the coverage has to be so different. They have to be covering it from a side by side, in front of the race. And there's been a lot of
that's true, yeah.
Been a lot of complaints about that, because even if you're in a breakaway, one person, you're getting blasted with the dust from the side by side.
And there was a side by side for a women's race that almost ran two of the leads over.
That was in Mid-South, I believe.
So it's I don't know which one it was, but that's kind of rough.
Yeah, they're figuring out. They're growing pains. But, we're the outliers here. U.S. gravel is huge. It's really the only racing scene that is alive in this country right now.
We have a lot to offer the world in terms of gravel. Maybe we should have Patrick come on and talk about why U.S. gravel is so
in an upcoming episode,
right
we
now.
will be doing that for sure.
Maybe that's where it should go.
It's exciting because of the tech. All the tech is on the U.S. side.
Yeah, that's fun. You get to talk about tire sizes. You get to talk about what works, what doesn't work. So I have who the world championships of gravel are. So the elite men, the first place is Florian Vermeer.
Yeah. Who looks like my cousin.
Yeah. He really does. And second was Fritz Bisterbers, and third was Matej Mohoric, who we really like. And for elite women, the first place was Lorena Wiebes, of course. Second was Mariana Voss. And third was Sylvia Presico.
Yeah. So it's cool that a lot of Euro pros are racing in the gravel scene, and I think it's a good. We're seeing so many more all around cyclists now in professional racing. They'll do mountain biking, road racing, gravel, cyclocross, and you get to watch them do that. You get to watch your favorite athletes do that all year, and they also. Being in the times that we are, they also put out their YouTube episodes from behind the scenes stuff and their little
just so
blogs.
much content.
Just so much content.
Yeah.
Bricked with content.
Oh my God.
Did I use that correctly?
I don't know.
Is that OnlyFans? Okay, well, that's so. Yeah, you got anything else about? We've got some corrections out of the way. We're going to drop. We're going to drop a breaking news, a hot headline, but it's going to be at the end of this news segment. Okay, so we're going to kind of lead into it artfully.
We're going to talk about them damn teens.
Yeah, I mean the theme of headlines this week are those dang teens.
Why are teenagers,
Why
boy
are dang
teenagers,
kids,
get off my
dang
lawn,
kids?
or
You
get
know,
off my back?
in a time where we thought teenage mischief was
Was at an all-time low.
all-time low, they seem to be really acting up this week.
I know. What's the deal with
You want to
that?
start with, I mean, I can't remember which stage of the Giro there was some teenager trying
Two
to,
19
two
year
19-year-olds
olds,
pushing.
UCI pushed the video out so
Uh-huh.
they could, get this video out to everybody to say, hey, this isn't cool. So what had happened was there's two teenage boys, they were both 19, and they were trying to push people like riders
Mhm.
off of their bikes, like in a pretty big
From
bunch.
a roundabout, which are already dangerous.
It was hard to watch.
Yeah.
And there's two of them, and one was filming probably for TikTok or something, but they were both charged and people found them right away. But like, yeah, really dangerous situation. I mean, we've seen in other like grand tours, people holding up signs that,
Yeah, but that's kind of,
and then sometimes people will like just when they're cheering, their arms will go out a
they're just
little bit
getting
more.
too excited, which is okay.
Which is just clearly an accident. But
These weren't fans. These were kids just like being jerks and trying to push riders off their bikes as they went by. Now, cycling takes place in the open, like in the public, and so it's a
vulnerable.
The riders are vulnerable.
It's not like they have helmets and arm pad, like all this stuff that other sports have. They have a thin piece of, well, they have helmets on, but they have a thin piece of foam on their heads. They have barely nothing covering their bodies.
Barely
so
any.
Vulnerable.
They're just sacks of bones with legs.
So fast.
So
these poor sacks of bones with legs.
So I think the
it was hard to watch.
The Italian cops found these kids and locked them up for life, I'm sure.
No, that's not what happened.
Shipped them off to Australia, the penal colony.
Mm-hmm. Stopped being one in 1900.
Yeah. So leading into more teenage mischief. To me, this is the story of the week.
Teenage mischief. There were ages. So another one was an assault on two doors
rider.
down.
Two-door rider, which is a two-door rider.
Who used to ride for UCI last year.
It's a watch company. Used to ride for UAE last year, not UCI. His name, you want to try to say his name? He's Dutch. And this happened in Dutchland, which is not Deutschland, but actually the Netherlands. He's Netterish.
He's a sprinter, Arvid de Klein.
Oh, it's pretty good. Pretty good. 32 years old.
Beaten unconscious on a training ride by a group of teens.
Ages 15 to 17 years old.
Oh my God. Can you imagine? That's kind of scary. He said that they were like clearly under the influence. They were drunk and maybe something else, he said. And they had said something to him and he was like, why do you have to talk like that? That's not a good word to use. And then as he was riding away, one of them punched him in the head and made him unconscious and broke his nose.
Kids be wildin'.
I mean, I don't know. Like, is there something going on with teenage boys? Like, what is happening in the world where teenage boys just have no role models and are picking on the classic person in the world to pick on, which are cyclists. Like, how many of you guys have been bullied in high school and beyond for being cyclists? Well, are all cyclists victims of bullies?
Absolutely. I mean, this is one of the gayest sports out there. And we got to own that. What did I say? I know I'm using that word, but it's true. Next to figure skating, cycling happens in public, though. We're prancing around in our little outfits on our little bikes in public, in front of all these motorists and teenage kids. And I've been called gay for being a cyclist my whole life.
Yeah.
And you're putting yourself out there when you're on a bike.
Yeah.
And it's not the coolest sport by any means.
Yeah.
It doesn't have any respect
Yeah.
People think nowadays, like if you're, I mean, any day, they think, if you're not wearing a kit, then you probably lost your license. Like if you're just riding around or something, like that's what people assume when they see me on like Route 1 or something. But, it's no one really thinks that you do this for fun. If you're riding a bike for fun, you're on an e-bike. With
Yeah,
like those
that's true. The really big tires
the
just
big tires,
whizzing
and
by.
that's what the teenagers ride these days. They even ride in the scooters. Or I know we could talk trash on teenagers because there ain't no teenagers listening to this. I'm
I
sure
just
of
feel bad for the
it.
kids these days because, like, who are they going to look up to?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
who are like, look at the leadership in the world. It is
yeah,
beneficial to psychopaths. And
yeah.
so we are seeing, I don't blame the kids. I blame the world and the culture that we're living in right now. Like, we can definitely change this up and do a little bit better for our kids. Because, yeah, this is horrible to see, but these babies' brains are still developing. Like, they need to be molded into place.
Yeah.
And maybe, some Machiavellian punishment method is right for some of these kids. Like, get them scared straight. Remember? Remember that? Remember that?
We need like a bodybuilding cyclist to get picked on and then have like a Incredible Hulk moment.
I don't know what these kids need, because another story was that the cannibals.
Oh yeah, speaking of teenagers again, Eddie Merckx. Story to Eddie Merckx. Who many consider the
greatest of all time
we
cyclist.
talk about the GOAT cyclist, but he's like the one that everyone else is compared to.
Yeah.
His career ended in the early 80s, late 70s or something, but he's a Belgian cyclist, huge in Belgium, probably one of the most popular Belgian sportsmen of all time.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
If you don't know who Eddie Merckx is, I would invite you to look him up and learn all you can about him, because it's a pretty fascinating character.
Yeah.
And he's still alive.
We watched that documentary, The Hell of the North, when was that from?
I think that was Tête de la Course.
The name of the film?
Yeah.
And
that's
there's
a classic cycling film. If you haven't seen this.
What was it called again?
Tête de la Course.
Is it
front
Tête or Tête?
Does that mean front of the race?
Tête means head in French.
Yeah, there you go. Head of the race. So
it covered. Oh, that makes sense, because it's Paris-Roubaix, so it would be French.
Day in Hell.
Yeah.
Sunday in Hell. But
Sunday
there's
in
a Sunday
Hell.
in Hell too. So
it was Sunday in Hell.
Well, I'm really getting both of them confused. But look them both up. You're going to want to watch both of them.
No, it was Sunday in Hell that I remember, where you can see Eddie Merckx like getting off of his bike with his little measuring tape and like measuring his like seat post.
Yeah,
it's funny. He measures
his saddle height like six. It becomes like another character. His saddle height in that film.
He was like laser focused on it. The bikes look great. The jerseys look great. Like
the opening scene is like that guy with the lube on a paintbrush, just going through all of the gears on a bike. Like you can hear the old Campy Super record like clicking and stuff. It's just like, it's
a feast for the eyes and ears.
Yeah, a treat for the senses.
Yeah.
And we don't even. It could be a Sunday in Hell, or it could be Tête de la Course, but you should watch both.
Both. Yeah.
Anyway, so this guy Eddie Merckx, statues. There's statues all over Belgium.
Was it a statue, or was it like one of those?
Well, either way,
pieces?
It's some teenagers took the head off.
They defaced it and took the head off and threw it in a different place.
Yeah, like
and then another teenager found it.
Yeah, they treated him like he was Christopher Columbus in 2020 here.
Yeah, I mean, Christopher Columbus can fuck right off and get beheaded for all I care.
But not Eddie Merckx.
But not Eddie Merckx.
His nickname was the Cannibal. He's not actually a cannibal, folks.
Yeah, don't eat him.
Anyway,
He's still alive.
Just teenagers going wild. That's really the news and gossip around here.
Disrespecting cyclists.
And I wanted to I'm going off script here again, but I wanted to correlate. Yeah, there is no script. I wanted to correlate that to we have really high gas prices around the world right now. For what? I can't remember what reason. But yeah, we got high gas prices around the world. Sorry, the rest of the world. So, in the 70s, this caused a giant bike boom that lasted a decade.
Yeah.
Really what we thought the COVID bike boom was going to be, but which I think we learned our lesson relatively quick there. Not quick enough, which we'll get into later. But I think people waiting at the pump, paying whatever they were paying for gas in the 70s, caused a lot of people to just start riding their bikes places. And it was like a big boom to the industry, a big boom to touring cycling. You had the bike centennial happening during then. It was just, you had all those bike movies like American Flyer and Quicksilver and
others
and Breaking Away that came out in the early 80s, and you had Greg LeMond winning the Tour. So like late 70s, early 80s, cycling was having a really big, I don't know, resurgence. I guess the first surgence would be like the advent of the safety bicycle, like in the early 1900s.
First wave feminism,
right,
women riding on bikes.
So I just want to say, like,
getting the bike face.
Right. My bike face. So I think cycling is at it's just a feeling, a vibe I have here.
Okay.
That cycling is at an not an all time, but is at a pretty big like dip in popularity, where like as an activity. And
I wonder
as a
if
mode
it's
of transportation.
I wonder if it's a dip or if it's at a crossroads. Like if you're thinking about the 70s. I was actually talking to your mom about this, about what the gas situation crisis in the 70s was. Number one, there wasn't gas at the pumps. Like we still have it. It's wicked expensive, but we can still get it. And in the 70s, they didn't have other distractions, they couldn't just be distracted by their phones or the many, many channels we have on the TV or, whatever it is. So they had to find other ways to entertain themselves because they literally couldn't get gas. And they had to find other ways of transporting themselves. And we learned from COVID that when you do get on a bike, like you really fucking like it. Like it's a joyful thing to do, and you get a little hooked. You get hooked on it. It's such a good time to just contemplate whatever's going on. So there's those challenges. I feel like we're at a crossroads here. I would hate to think about it as like a dip or a place of no return, because
definitely not a place of no return.
Yeah, but you didn't say that. I did.
Yeah. But I think we just need I think all alt cyclers here listening know what sustainable cycling looks like, how you become a cyclist for lifelong. It's not all about the performance metrics and racing and the stuff that's at the top of our cycling food chain. It's the lower stuff, but you got to make it, I don't know, you got to make it cool in some way to people who are just getting into it. But
because I think kids these days need cycling more than ever, like pedal biking more than ever, because these kids obviously need to let off some steam. I mean, we did it. Ron and I grew up in the shoreline of Connecticut, where there was like a pretty healthy hardcore scene and like just a lot of good music coming out, where we could thrash our bodies and get our like teenage angst, the rage that we felt at like the collective woes through music. And the kids have that a little bit, but like they also have so much more to deal with too. Like you can have information from around the world just like ruining your day if you have a heart. So like where does all of that go? You've got to let it out somewhere. Where's the release? And the release valve has to be enormous these days. So I do think that we're at a crossroads. We're just not messaging right or something. I don't know what it is. But the kids need to ride bikes. They need to feel tired in their bodies. And they need that kind of release, I feel like.
Yeah. Well, I guess.
How do we spread the love?
Yeah, how do we spread the love? To close that, do you think these high gas prices are going to help the bike industry? Is this going to be another little bike boom here or not? I think probably not.
Yeah. But there is a way to leave comments in the pod, like in the show notes. You'll see like leave us a message. So I do get those emails. Let me know.
There also are like comments on Apple Podcast and Spotify, right?
Yeah. We've seen your comments.
Loud. Thank you, folks.
Yeah, let us know. Let us know. Because we'll bring it up and talk about it on the next pod and shout you out. So that's the thing.
Speaking of this.
I love a shout out. We shout out people all the time.
Yeah, we do. We do. Shout out people.
Hey.
Okay, so that's the teens.
Yeah.
That's
Back to Eddie Merckx. Speaking of Eddie Merckx,
yeah.
I
Okay, this
know.
is all right.
This is getting smutty.
This just in.
Yeah. It's not just in news, but I am a very gossipy person by nature. I really like romantic relationships and like thinking about those in people's lives. I am just very nosy. And I was looking around the other day. I was like looking up Lotte Kopecky, who is a former world champion. She's a big deal cyclist,
Road racing
racing world champion. And
She's
I,
kind of like, who would you compare her to? I mean, she's kind of like the Matthew Vanderpool of women's cycling, or vice versa, would you think? Kind of like
no,
that?
because she's only one
That's
discipline.
just one
Like,
discipline. Yeah,
yeah,
that's true.
there's no comparison. You really can't compare the men and the
Mhm,
women.
mhm.
They're just completely different
But she's a big deal. She's a
bodies
big deal. She wins one-day
altogether.
races.
Yeah.
And yeah, she's just an incredible like sprinter and one-day racer.
Yeah. I swear, like in the 2024 Gravel World Championships, Lotte Kopecky and Marianne Vos had a two-person breakaway.
Marianne Vos, who's I would just so everyone knows.
Everyone knows Marianne Vos. We talk about
We
her
talk
all
about
the
her, but if
time
you're just tuning
because
in,
she's the best. We love her.
38-year-old Dutch cyclist on Visma Lisa bike.
There you go. I knew you could get it.
Sexual orientation.
Okay. You know what, Jenny?
I'm just trying to get the facts out of you.
Well, I would get there.
All right. Sorry to interject.
Marianne Vos is the best. So Lotte Kopecky and Marianne Vos I had, our friend Sam and Sal were here that year, and I had them rewatch the gravel race because I swear they fell in love in the breakaway. They were working so well together, taking turns. Lotte kept looking at her and smiling, and Marianne Vos just kept like looking at her and smiling. And I was like, I had this whole narrative in my head, like, oh my God, they're in love. They're both so freaking strong, and they are just, they're going to live that fairy tale life. That's where I go into daydreams in my head. And in my head, I'm like, okay, they're both like queer icons. I love it. So that's the story I've told in my head. So randomly the other day, I was like, Lotte Kopecky, I was like on the Google, I was like, Lotte Kopecky girlfriend, but it said Lotte Kopecky boyfriend. And I was like, wait, what? So I clicked on that. She's currently dating Axel Merckx, the son of Eddie Merckx.
Also a former
professional cyclist. He works for like the, that Bergman, whatever team. He's on the Devo, the development. He's like a development coach for
keeping his eye out for a younger.
Yeah, the Bergman, what's that team?
I don't know. It doesn't matter, I guess.
Okay.
We're so bad at this part of the.
Please don't listen to us for pro news. Go to Escape Collective.
Yeah, we're here. We're here for
them.
Gossip that may or may not be true.
Yeah,
that's why it's gossip.
It's true. It's true. Belgian news outlets confirmed this in January that Lotte Kopecky and Axel Merckx are together. They have been out publicly. They have Strava rides together. Like, they are very much together as of January 2026 and out since January 26 as a couple. And I was like, what? And Lotte Kopecky's like reported to be like so happy with him and stuff, but he's much older than her.
53?
He's 53. She's 30.
Okay. I mean,
that's a pretty big difference.
Pretty big difference.
Because he's got a kid that's closer to her age. Because his kid is 27, his older kid is 27. So like, that's to me really fucking gross, He also dated Chloe Dygert in the past, who was also much younger than it. Like, Chloe's younger than Lotte. So, I mean, my rule is if you could be their parent, like, if the age gap is more than 17, we got a problem here, folks. Like, pretty yucky stuff. Especially like the male.
We're so dumb though.
Older male.
We're at age 53. We're basically where y'all are at 30.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that we have to make those decisions. I'm talking about us. Get grossed out by old dudes. But it seems like Lotta likes older dudes anyway because she dated her coach who was 41 when she was like in her 20s. So that's my juicy gossip that I have.
It's Europe.
I don't give a fuck, bro. Like, hell no.
Juicy. So the juicy gossip is not only that Lotte Kopecky is dating the same person as, what's her name?
Chloe Kirk.
Chloe Kirk. Chloe Dygart famously fined for, I think, in the time trial world championships last year for having written on her fork, Charlie Kirk was right.
Or
something like that. I stand for the truth. I stand with Charlie.
Yeah. She's a very problematic cyclist.
She's a problematic cyclist, but
no but about that. She's a problematic cyclist.
She's one of the best. Unfortunately, this is kind of like she's one of the best women's U.S. She's like one of the best U.S. women's
I disagree.
cyclists out there.
We have Kristen Faulkner, who is a decorated Olympian.
We do. Let's just say one of the best. One of the best.
Ron just likes that she wears short shorts and pink shoes. Like, that's literally it.
To watch, everyone's wearing shorts that are so long on the men's and women's. I know they're more aerodynamic, but they just look bad. And Chloe somehow gets to wear like short shorts.
You can decide.
Essentially, I would be wearing booty shorts on the men's side, and so I could,
Ron's wearing his like super cut off denim shorts, like as I speak, and he cuts them super short, and he folds up the bottom.
You got to see the pockets out the bottom. So that way.
That's how short he likes the shorts. I also really love a short. Like it.
That's maybe like a one thing that Chloe's got going for her. I thought it was very interesting that they were commenting on what you went through their Instagram comments and
I went deep.
Went deep. So yeah, if you're like liking things on the internet,
I'll see it.
Arya's going to see it.
I'll see it.
Arya Nuts is going to see it.
I am nuts. But I've also been reading the Court of Thorns and Roses series, which is like fairy smut. Shout out to Amanda Gates for giving me those words, because it 100% is fairy smut. But I feel committed. I'm on book 5. They're super thick. They're easy to get through.
Big books.
And
very intellectual.
It's full of intellect and beauty.
I would only read that in a library.
Descriptions of dresses. Like, she wore a dress that looked like the night sky. And I'm like, ooh, that sounds pretty.
Chloe wore booty shorts with pink shoes.
Yeah.
Okay. Enough Chloe.
Right. Enough about that.
I just thought it was fun that you were looking through those 2 Instagram accounts and you were like, wow, they were dating the same guy at like the same time maybe, and like there was a lot.
Old man.
Yeah. So I mean,
he's cute though. He's cute.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Okay. So Axel Merckx, cute. Nams is liking a 53-year-old, which I guess isn't too outlandish, being that I am not that much younger than that.
We have a 5-year difference. I think you could not have had a child at 5, so we are out of my judgment zone.
I'm saying, what am I, 6 years away from being 53? I don't know. Anyway.
But I'm 40, bro.
Yeah. Let's see here. Okie dokie. Oh.
Moving on from the smutty gossip.
That was a Arya Nuts breaking news segment. Hope you liked that one.
I spent way too much time digging in for that.
Yeah, that was a small segment for how much digging you went. Okay.
Ridiculous. Let's move on, folks. So this is Monday. We're reporting from our kitchen. I'm drinking coffee. And it's like starting to hit me. So here we go.
It is so nice out. Yeah.
It's really nice. Ron wanted to record from being outside today, but I thought that the car noises would be too much.
We have a car pass us like every 30 minutes sometimes. Every 30 minutes, but it's enough to be like, it's like all bird noises and quiet, and then a car passes and you're like, whoa, where did that come from?
It's really abrupt and shocking.
We've become very sound sensitive. Yeah. Being where we are in the middle of nowhere.
We like the quiet.
Yeah. But I'm going to push for an outdoor episode one of these days.
Get there.
So, yeah.
Real life report back
section. I just finished my oats, finished my coffee. I've had some really good coffees that have been gifted to me in the past few weeks from just people in England.
What's the coffee that you said is like out of this world?
Well, the coffee that's out of this world was...
What's the name of it?
This one was
He's got up.
Yeah, this one was gifted to me. Okay,
Is it a Matt Hunter gift?
I got 3 great bags right here.
Uh-huh.
The skinny dip one is from the UK, and that was gifted to me by Peter. At Bespoke UK. That stuff is like, it's a yeast inoculated natural, and I'm telling you, it tastes like a chocolate milkshake, cherry bakewell, strawberry cream, quality streets. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. And then I got one of my favorite coffees that I get over and over again is from this company this roaster up in upstate New York, Buffalo, New York. It's just called the Blueberry. And it is a Worka Sakaro Gedeb Ethiopia natural. Wow. And it is blueberry citrus boozy. And let me tell you, it's an heirloom variety, so you know it's the more words it has, the better you know it is. But this stuff I buy over and over again. Overwinter coffee, the Blueberry. Worth the price. I think it's like $32 a bag, but it is to die for if you like those blueberry notes, which I do. I like deep, funky blueberry notes in my coffee. That's kind of like what got me into coffee in the first place.
Is blueberries?
Blueberry, it's not flavored, but coffee that has like natural blueberry flavor to it.
Okay.
Just by the way it's processed. I do a V60 pour over.
Okay.
1 gram of coffee to 16 ounces of water. No, the other way around. Yeah, 1 gram of coffee to
1 gram of water.
1 gram of water, 16 ounces of coffee. Blonde's rights. Not great at math, folks. It's really is something else that I could pull this together every morning, but I do. I do 25 grams of coffee, and that's generally my 25 to 30 grams of coffee, depending upon how I'm feeling. But okay.
And now the coffee bags are going. I can't do coffee anymore because I worked at a coffee shop in Tucson called Presta Coffee. Shout out to Curtis.
Presta does some incredible
really
natural processed like co-ferments
and I drank so much of that coffee that I like tore the lining in my stomach with all of the coffee. The acidity got to me, and now I can't do it anymore, even though sometimes I do because I love the taste over the coffee.
Love the taste. Well,
anyway, let's go back to real life report backs after the short coffee break we just had.
Yeah, if you have any coffee suggestions for me for heavy duty blueberry funky notes,
please leave it in the comments.
Yeah, I'd love to hear. So yeah, let's get right into the Spring Fling, Fling 5.
Yeah, what is the Spring Fling, Ron?
It's kind of a dumb name, and I don't think I
really disagree. I think it's cute.
I mean, it's pretty generic, I guess. But it was like 5 years ago. Right when we moved to East Haddam here, where we are, I was like, oh, it's nice to kind of like, it's kind of
planned.
Yeah, it's kind of it's kind of nice for me. We have our big event every year, the Nutmeg Nor'easter, which is the end of October.
Mm-hmm. For foliage. Foliage.
Foliage. October, of course, being, pretty much the best month to ride anywhere in the world.
I think it's the best month ever.
Yeah, because it is also Aria's birthday. And so, the Nor'easter is going to be its 10th edition this fall. What are the dates?
It's the weekend of the 23rd.
Friday,
of the 23rd to Sunday, 25th.
And we don't generally put the registration up for that until really August.
Yeah.
So you look for it then. It's a 500 person event. We have to cap it at that. Anything more becomes a little bit
less intimate
and a little too much for us to handle. But the Nor'easter at this point it's a gargantuan. I've used this last week for getting bikes ready, but it is a gargantuan task. And Aria does an exceptional job at organizing it, making the groundwork, making the flow charts, whatever.
just all the organizing.
Yes. And we had a lot more volunteers last year, which helped a lot.
Yeah.
But it's something that we don't have any sponsors. It's all just
grassroots, baby.
Grassroots. And we accidentally didn't have any sponsors. That wasn't like intentional, but it has kind of become part of it, I guess, that there's no, you go to a cycling event and you see a lot of tents from other companies and stuff like that. You don't have anything like that at our events, and so they don't really make any money, but it
makes friends. And that's worth it. People give me so much feedback. Like I really do run myself into the ground because I don't have great
Boundaries.
planning
Or
skills
boundaries.
or boundaries, and I'm an empath, and whatever people want, I'm like, yeah, you can have that. People pleasing, and I'm okay with it, you know?
Yeah.
My therapist would probably disagree, but I'm okay with it. I really like it. I was raised a Buddhist. Others before self is like a mantra that was spoken to. Others before self.
Yeah, you really
know?
do embody that to a fault.
I mean, whatever.
But it's rubbed
I
off
like
on me.
you.
It's rubbed off on my Western brain also. And
Yeah.
I guess I learned that from my mom, though. She's
She's
very
an others
much
before self kind of
others
a
before
person
self,
as
so.
well. So we can go into the Freudian
Yeah.
link of all of that later, but
yeah, so
that's
now
what we do.
so that's
the
we're going to be
fall.
talking way more about the nor'easter in upcoming episodes. But the spring fling is something that I wanted to have an event where I get to actually ride it and have fun and hang it with everybody because
Lower organization.
lower organization. It's free in quotation marks. We just say it's a $20 donation to the East Haddam Land Trust, who we work closely with here in town. Shout out Pete Govert.
And Teresa.
Pete Govert, I think during maybe the first or second spring fling, he noticed some. It was the Gateses, I think.
Okay.
Amanda and Kevin Gates. Kevin Gates is a tattoo artist, and he's covered in tattoos, face and everything. And Amanda, quite a few tattoos also. You look at these people and be like, oh, that's a rough bunch, for the elders.
And then they
here.
speak, and you're like, oh my God, they're the sweetest people.
Sweet
They're like
people.
rescuing cats from their neighborhood.
But Pete Govert, who's in his I don't know, mid 60s, got to be in his 60s. He's very young at heart, and he's you wouldn't know it just looking at him, but I guess he hollered at them and was like, "Hey, are you here with Ronnie?" And they're like, they thought they were getting in trouble, but he walked over. He's like, "We are so happy you all are here," and made them feel incredibly at home and special. And I've been working with Pete ever since. I think that was 5 years ago. And Pete Govert is in a number of bluegrass bands around here, but he's also in a metal band.
Yep.
So it's really funny. He's like,
loves his metal band.
Well, I've got to go to metal band practice now.
Loves it.
Anyway,
great politics too.
Great
Progressive
politics.
thinker, feminist.
Super cool guy. So we've got the Land Trust on our side here, which is a big constituency. There we go. In town. They're all on the older side. I'm definitely the youngest by far.
Oh yeah. Any meeting I go to, I bring the age, the average age down probably by 20 years.
But they
and
really
I'm 40. So
but they really love us, and they all have their matching Land Trust hats and everything, and they're like a crew when they show up to these town meetings. And I love being part of that crew. And so stuff like this, just donating to them helps them a lot. And
they love it when
they love it.
The trails get used because it actually helps with the upkeep of the trails.
Right. They need to get used, otherwise they get overgrown. We have so many trails here, and they just don't get used. They get used by us. That's
why they love us.
us.
It's not crowded like out west, because we just don't have the young people with the knees to be riding, and that's sad when we're the young people, right?
Yeah. It's cool and it keeps them thinking of as mountain bike cyclists are welcome on these trails because we're good stewards of the whole network. And
I gotta say about the crew that shows up for the Nutmeg Spring Fling and the nor'easter is that it's just a really nice bunch. Everyone is really considerate and kind.
Unbelievable.
We don't, the hosts of Deer Lake,
where we have the nor'easter,
they host people all the time, right? There's
every
all
weekend,
these different groups from NASA scientists to corporate leaders, whatever it is. And the hosts actually come and hang out with us the whole time because they love our group.
So it's their favorite group all year.
It's the favorite group because we tend to be more environmentally conscious. We're a little bit softer on ourselves.
We clean up after ourselves. We leave no trace. Yeah, it's a really
we love animals.
It's an incredible community that we're a part of.
Yeah,
I can't so much gratitude.
It's a lot of soft boys.
So
the Spring Fling was motivated from MTV Spring Break.
Yes. Going back to soft boys. MTV Spring Break. I used to watch it all the time because we didn't have pornography, so you really had to watch MTV Spring Break if you wanted to see any skin on TV back in back when I was growing up.
No money for Skinamax.
Yeah. So yeah, kind of a play on that. And so this year we had an incredible weather.
Yeah, it was like summer.
It was 75 and sunny, and we always have a little group of riders stay over at our place the night before and the night after, and so a nice little camp out before, a little barn hang, and I love the barn hangs because we're just nerding out like it's basically everybody's just coveting their pocket protectors and hoping that some bullies don't come by and flush the toilets with our heads in it or something, but we can all get together and talk about our favorite XTR derailleur, whether we like rapid rise or just standard, or whether we're into one buys or doubles. We could just talk about these things deep into the night, and nobody is there to judge us.
It's really cute. I saw you guys in a circle in the barn, just looking at bikes at the end of the night, just talking about your rides. Everybody had like little raspberries on them from the falls they must have done, or like the Goodwin Trail.
It's a stout route.
But everybody had smiles. They all looked exhausted, and
so the route is 50. So we generally change up the route every year depending upon what the weather's going to be like. We have a beautiful beach down below, about 10 miles as the crow flies below us on Long Island Sound. It's Rocky Neck. This time of year, it's even on the weekends, it's like empty, even on a nice weekend. And so we have a mixture of surfaces that take us down to Rocky Neck. And I did 2 routes, one a roadie route and one the ATB route. And my apologies, somehow, I sent out these routes at the end of like Thursday night, I think, and I had a long day of shipping bikes and doing whatever else. Very busy week. And I was like, oh, I got to get these routes out. And I swear I remember routing the road ride, not single track, but somehow, the road ride ended up on single track.
A little bit slipped in.
A little bit slipped in. No one seemed too mad about it. And so then we meet at Rocky Neck and we have a big picnic right on the beach. And
on that little grassy area.
Area, which is gorgeous. Check out ronsbikesblog.com if you want to see the photos. ronsbikesblog.com. And there's so after that the people who are doing the road route and the ATB route, we all depart from Rocky Neck together, and we head up north and we head up the Goodwin Trail. But while we were in Rocky Neck, we actually weren't supposed to be in there with our bikes down by the beach. And park ranger came up to us and we were like, oh no, we're in trouble. But the park ranger was cool as hell. And he was like, well, guys, you're really not supposed to be down here, but this is cool as hell. And he's like, I love that you guys are doing this. I'm like, I can't be mad. Like this is, but like just for the future, you're not supposed to be behind that gate on your bikes. And he's like, but damn, this is like so cool. Like guys just don't do this anymore. Like he was just like saying, I guess what we were talking about earlier on, where it's just and we have to like really be thankful that we have this community. Like I hope everybody else has their own little bike communities in their own little towns and whatnot, but it's so important to me and so many other people I know. But this park ranger just couldn't be mad at us because he wishes he had his bike and was riding with us.
Oh, cute.
So after an incredible picnic at the beach. Oh, yes. Star shout-outs.
Okay.
Brian Chapman. Of Chapman Cycles.
It was the sweetest thing. He knocked on the door in the morning and brought like homemade scones.
Oh, to here?
Yeah.
I missed that?
You missed it because I shared it with people at the sample sale at the barn. And
such a nice guy.
I was reading Hobbit to the little ones when that was happening, so I didn't get up. But I know he was also running late.
Our nephews,
yeah, my favorite.
So thanks, Brian Chapman, for continuing to come out here. Brian Chapman, I think, in my opinion, has like, as far as like followership and views and stuff, has like the hottest alt bike Instagram. Chapman Cycles.
1000%.
If you want to see process shots of the most beautiful bikes in the world being made, check out Chapman Cycles if you haven't already. Really, he's carrying the torch into the future. He's a little bit older than I am.
Carrying the torch. That was good.
The torch.
That was good.
Into the future, the blazing torch we're talking about here. He's he is, as far as like the randoneering style of bicycle goes, I don't think that there's anyone consistently building in the world that does it better than him. And we have him right here, only an hour away in Pawtuxet Village, Rhode Island. And he is one gem of a guy, let me tell you.
Yeah.
So we left from the beach. The people who were doing the rodeo route split off on their own beautiful country road ride, while the ATBers entered the Goodwin Trail, which is a 12-mile continuous kind of like, it's not a hellfest, but it can be if you're, it can be if you're tired. Yeah, because because the water was shut off at Rocky Neck. So once again, I deprived people of water, but this is,
it's no MTV Spring Break.
No.
Or maybe it is because everybody's dehydrated.
Yeah, dehydrated and shredded. Yeah, yeah. And we entered the Goodwin Trail, and with a group of about 20 of us, which is awesome. Another reason why I hold these types of events is because I love socializing on the bike. Like, this is my part. This is my way of partying, and I'm not really like a social party guy in any other way. It's got to be like bike adjacent. And if I can get in on a socializing while doing like a hard ride, and everyone's kind of going through it together, there's just so much to talk and chat and commiserate about. I just love it. It's just like, to me, it's, I don't know if I really had these experiences as a kid. I didn't have as many cycling friends. But, later in life, it is so nourishing to me to find people who, I don't know, we just have so much in common. And it's just so nourishing to be able to share trails and hard riding and technical aspects of a hard day with. So just really getting into it. They were dropping off little by little. I think by the, by midway through the trail, there may be like 10 of us left. But it was a core group. And there was a guy on like 35s. Which is crazy on the Goodwin Trail. Definitely the narrowest tire to ever navigate the Goodwin Trail. And there were plenty of people getting flats on fat tires, but this guy, he's probably about my age also, was just like pounding himself.
Legolas.
Yeah. And yeah, so shout out to that guy. Pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And it got me thinking, a lot of like guys like who are riding the narrower tires and swear that that's the only bike you need, they could be really insufferable at times. This guy was not one of those people. But, they could be like, oh, you only need one bike. It's like the Jobs Brandt types who are all into, if you're not familiar with that guy, he was like riding road bikes all over the dirt tracks of California, along with like Tom Ritchie in the early days, and like influenced Tom Ritchie. But yeah, just a hard guy. He would just drink from like seeps of water that went outside the mountain, and just would ride everything, all the most technical stuff in Northern California on super skinny tires. Well, it got me thinking. I was like, if you're riding those like super skinny tires, you're being a lot more careful. And you're also able to find lines between rocks that other people with fatter tires can't ride. And so maybe it's like the people in the middle, like we're talking like 38s to 45s that will get a lot of flats, because you have a little bit more volume, but not enough to really let it fly. And you're letting it fly anyway because you feel that extra volume. Whereas I was on my highest volume tire yet for that ride.
What were you on?
I was on my Allimax 2 sample, which is a complete ripper. Like, I can't believe how good that bike is. And I had the Brute in the rear, which is the new Ultra Dynamico 700 by 53.
Okay.
It's kind of a slicker tire. And then I had Mars in the front, 700 by 55. Knobbier tire. So I had plenty of braking traction and cornering traction, whereas my rear would roll fast because we had a myriad of surfaces, and had my handlebars at the right height, I guess. And I don't know, everything was just like set up perfectly. I was so comfortable on my bike for that entire ride, and I was able to ride everything on the Goodwin Trail. I was able to, I think, a few dabs here and there, but that whole 12 miles was rideable for me on that bike.
Not a single flat?
And not a single flat. I'm talking, I was riding TPU tubes too.
Okay.
Like Amazon TPU tubes. I don't pay the big bucks for the name brands. But yeah, so thin Amazon TPU tubes I'm going to go over that in the next episode, how to size your TPU tubes. You want to oversize them a little bit. That's a little hint.
Okay.
But yeah, a pretty cool thing.
Yeah.
So we just had like an incredible.
He has to patch. You need special patches.
Yeah, there's a
those.
lot of downsides. And the
Yeah.
guy, Dom, who was with us on a 26-inch single speed, was just overly sending it, being a little, he was having fun. He was having fun. Shouldn't have had that much fun. He had 3 flats on TPU tubes.
Fine by him. It was glowing.
So it was kind of nice, so that we would always wait for him to fix his flats, and that kind of made it nice for everyone to stop and get some snacks and water or whatever. Chit chat. So,
Smoke a J.
Yep, plenty of that.
Yep.
And yeah, so just a beautiful day of riding. One of my favorite days of the year to ride with a big group and have a little adventure here in our little corner of Nutmeg Country. And I just think that we have, again, you hear people say it and it's really nice to hear, but I just think we have some of the best cycling, if not the best cycling that I've ever experienced in this world.
Okay.
So I
you heard it here.
You heard it here. I don't think anyone does it better. I just think we have it. It's so gorgeous here.
You also know how to find all of the good stuff.
So much good stuff to find.
You're always out there sniffing out.
It's unbelievable. Like I was just riding around with Troy yesterday after we built up his 650 bead Lightspeed Obed titanium. Again, for last week, I'm sorry I said titanium is dead. I meant new titanium is dead. Old titanium, still sweet. And so we built up Troy's Lightspeed and went out for a little ride afterwards. And I was just like, we live in a park. Weigel has told me that before. He's like, can you believe this place? It feels like we live in a park.
Don't tell people that too often now.
Well, I want cyclists.
Actually, young people, younger cyclists, I would love it if there's more of us here, honestly.
There are quite a few of us, and we get maybe like one every other year or something. But it's like it's a good pace. If you're looking for a community and amazing riding, please consider us. I want to import the right people here, and I feel like
you want the gentry to arrive here.
Yes.
So we can have some nice restaurants.
So we can kick out the gentry. Yeah.
The old gentry.
There's nothing to gentrify here but the old gentry. Yeah. So, it's also safe for whites. Yeah.
No such thing. No such thing as that, according to me. But
so
beautiful spring fling. I was at the barn slinging sample sales for Ron Spike's things that didn't quite make the cut.
We ended with a sample sale.
Yeah, yeah. And you had some used tires from your mini bikes sets, and people were really excited about that. I think I will put the stuff that I still have left over from the sample sale on the site. So keep an eye out for that because I still have...
That's ronspikes.com.
That's right. If you want some like big tote bags, a couple of fabulous purses that go right shoulder instead of left shoulder, tool rolls, a couple of those things. Keep an eye out on the site. I'll have them on there. I really liked having people come through at the end and getting your stories. That was awesome.
Yeah.
I did see a lot of dirty legs and a lot of smiles and a lot of stories. And it's just nice talking to people who, have the same kind of worldview and gentleness to them, and same kinds of excitements and value systems of respecting life.
And they love to get dirty.
They love to get dirty. They don't mind a little bloody knuckle from falling.
Shout out Rolly. Should have seen the tree. Should have seen the tree that he punched. So yeah, that's a wrap. Spring Fling has been flung. Really cool. Thank you for coming out if you did. If you didn't, well, you missed out. You did.
There's next year.
There's always next year.
Yep.
Okay. Ad break. Well, this podcast is always sponsored by ronsbikes.com. You get all your bags, get your bikes, get your shoes. What else can you get at ronsbikes.com?
Some trinkets, wallets.
Yeah, a lot of little trinkets. Get those at ronsbikes.com. Ultradynamico.com. That's ultradynamico.com. Tires, probably the best you'll ever ride. Check them out. Ultradynamico.com. All right. Well, why you mad?
Ronnie, are you mad?
I am mad.
Oh, well, tell them why you're mad, Ronnie boy.
I'm mad at the world for being mad at cycling.
Ooh, okay.
Okay. There's so many,
That's
there's
meta.
so many naysayers out there, myself among them.
Okay.
I'm mad at myself here.
Oh my gosh.
It's so easy to talk trash on the bike industry. It's like insert your trash talk here, which, we're guilty of.
So, bike industry
The
meaning.
big industry, the little industry, everything. And I'm talking about the entire bicycle ecosystem. And, it's these bigger brands, especially, they get caught up in these product cycles. Every year they got to come up with something new. That's capitalism.
Yeah.
And, you know, these are still bike brands though, which, as far as like sporting goods go, they're probably amongst the most marginalized. This is not big business. It is, it is. I mean, this isn't like a car company, is what I'm saying. Okay. And we all have, I don't know, I have a number of friends in the bike industry, in the mainstream bike industry. And maybe you know someone in the mainstream bike industry. Do you want these guys to lose their jobs? People to lose their
Thousands
jobs?
have.
Thousands have. I mean, the big companies are cutting people left and right because cycling is, like we touched on earlier, is not deemed very cool right now, I don't think.
I wonder
And
why.
in the US especially. Well, although a lot of our examples went to what was happening in Europe earlier in this episode, but I digress. Did I use that correctly? Digress?
Yeah, that's
So
well done.
so I'm mad at people being mad at, like, of course, 32-inch wheels. What else? Very like specific bikes, like niche bikes, like touring only bikes, or like
With like integrated racks into the
integrated
frame.
racks. Yeah, things like that. Like, these are all things that the bike industry needs to keep making money, and not only to keep making money, but to like stay like where they are and like hold jobs where they are. Like, it's not this isn't like a covert operation to steal your money by saying you need something that you don't really need. Bikes are fun, and having a lot of different bikes is really fun. And there's plenty of people out there that would say you only need one bike for everything, but I disagree in
I
that.
have a specialized rock hopper that can do it all.
Right. I could
I
do
have a
everything on this.
Peugeot from
I've spent
1973.
$500 total on bikes my entire life, and
I
most of
just
that
use
were inner
kitty
tubes.
litter boxes on
Yeah.
the rack,
I
and
patched
I
my
don't need
inner
anything else.
This inner tube has 24 patches, and yeah, sure, that's fine, but you don't have to tell the rest of us that. You're trying to make us feel bad or something. Like, what is that about? For cycling to move forward, it needs a lot of changes, obviously, but it isn't stuff like that. You're not going to change the world by patching your tube 24 times and riding your rock hopper everywhere.
I mean, more power to you.
More power to you, but
go ahead, Fred.
alt cycling is about the gear.
Yep.
And it's a fashion show.
Yep.
And that may seem not inclusive in ways, but I feel it is also the kind of commitment to the sport and to the culture that signals your card carrying alt cycling opinion moniker.
Yeah, you find your people that way, right?
People. I mean, this is personal. I think I find my people that way.
I know. I think it's the flavor. Like you can have your own like preferences on what flavors you like in life, and you find the people that like your flavor, and that's it.
And sometimes that's a 32-inch wheel.
So you're saying that you're mad at people for being mad at 32-inch wheels because you're like into it.
I'm not. I've ridden one. I rode one. I rode the new house, the one that Daniel Yang had at Made last year. I just rode it around in the Made parking lot, but I found some little gravel patches. The thing with a bigger wheel is you have a bigger contact patch, and so it's more rollover, as in there are less like the inconsistencies in the surface that you're riding over. It kind of bridges the gap between like a pothole or something better than a 29-inch wheel or a 650.
Fair enough. I mean, so
and you could feel that when you're riding it. If anybody had been on a 29er for the first time after riding 26 their whole lives, I remember getting on my first 29er. It was a single speed Gary Fisher rig, rigid, and I was blown away. I was like, this is faster than my suspended 26-inch mountain bike. And I continued to ride 26-inch after that. I had a 29er,
Right.
but it doesn't change your world, but it's a different bike and it's a different way to use a bike. And it was really fun and engaging for me. And, there'd be times where I probably wouldn't have gone out for a bike ride if I didn't have that other option there to kind of call me into the ride. And the 32-inch experience for me, just in that parking lot, trying to lose traction, going around corners as sharp as I could in these little gravel patches and bunny hopping and trying to case the wheel into a pothole. I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. And it's, of course, only for tall people, because otherwise if you're someone your size, if they leaned behind the saddle, they would just buzz their
Yeah.
Yeah, you just buzz your ass.
It's not made for 5'2" or below.
Oh no,
like
it's just saying 5'10" and below, I'd say.
Yikes.
But there's a big push. Like there's already all these brands from Sea Otter are all releasing 32-inch bikes, including I think the Salsa Fargo is now 32-inch, which is a dedicated like Tour Divide touring bike. There's a number of others. There's a lot. And then, of course, there's a lot of hate online being like, I can't believe they're doing this to us again. More standards, this, that, and that. We don't have to follow those standards. There's room for all of it, Just let them do what they need to do to survive, folks. These companies they're barely holding on.
I don't know if that's what they need to do to survive, though, they're not really surviving.
They need new stuff.
And
I'm telling you,
bike shops are closing.
We can't, as an Ultra Dynamico, we can't make a 32-inch tire. Panaracer, who makes our tires, I asked them immediately because I was like, even if this is a fad, we're a small enough company that we can absorb the mold cost if we're like one of the only ones that's making a tire like that. But they told us absolutely not 2 years ago, because it would take so much retooling of their traditional factory in Japan. So it's really only the bigger manufacturers that can do these tires, because the molds are expensive and machines that make them, the vulcanizing machines, are massive. So it's really only the Chinese and Taiwanese companies that can do tires like this, or Malaysian factories. And so there's a lot of tires being released with those right now. So it's another wheel standard where the entire frame geometries all need to be redesigned to accommodate. The wheels need to change because you need wider hub spacing in order to mitigate the larger leverage that you get off of a bigger wheel,
Yeah.
So there's all sorts of crazy stuff that needs to happen to the bike to make this work. But at this time right now, it's kind of, hopefully it does catch on, because a lot of people have already put a lot of money into this. But, it's just one of those things that, much like 29 plus or like 27.5 plus, like plus tires previously, where everyone was doing 3-inch tires. I had a Krampus. I was about that. But,
I had
these
3-inch tires on my Vision
for
during
touring
the
and
tour.
stuff. There's a lot of 32-inch for touring would be really good, I think, because, the spin, like they're heavier wheels, spinning them up. They're not quite as nimble, I suppose, in like tight New England style trails, But anyway, we'll definitely do a 32-inch episode at some point after I've ridden more of them. But I'm just mad at people for being mad at this stuff. Like, just let it happen. No one's pure here. No one's like wringing their hands of not atrocities. That's way too strong of a word, but
Purity doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist.
Right?
Like, you can't live a virtuous life.
Oh my God. You could try.
You could try. That's the only thing you could do, but you can't be like nothing. It's like not all or nothing. You've got to be in this world that we live in today. You're going to drive yourself crazy if you try.
All or nothing is a logical fallacy.
Yeah, you're going to drive yourself crazy. So stop like being mad at the bike industry. Be mad at other things.
I think it's okay to be mad at the bike industry sometimes, because you got to get it out. Like it is frustrating to be like, what? Now we need another thing. Now we need to put more emissions into the sky and the earth because we decided to come up with some ridiculous thing that no one asked for. Like there's some things to be mad, but
that's such a small piece,
small chunk of
the bigger picture.
Of the bigger picture. Like being a climate change activist for most of my teenage and 20s, I can understand that, but we've got to point our arrows upwards. Like bicycling industry is very, very small potatoes compared to like the big meat pie of, the military wars. You blow one bomb in Iran, and that's like pretty much every single cyclist.
All the 32-inch wheels you'll ever know.
Not just that, that's all of the cyclists for all of our lifetimes worth of emissions, right? For what the industry. So, point the arrows upwards, keep that in mind, and keep the joy.
If you need to point arrows, if you just need to point those arrows, like you just can't live without it.
Go for a hard mountain bike ride.
Yeah.
on your favorite bike.
On your 26-inch rock hopper with 26 patches on your inner tube.
Yeah. If you want to know more about what's going on with the industry, there's an Escape Collective podcast that's called Overnight Success. They have many different podcasts. There's Spin Cycle, the Wheel Talk for women cycling.
Not all the Overnight Success episodes are as good as these
industry ones.
The industry ones. But they kind of talk about where the industry went wrong in COVID.
And there's a really good one. It's like a really long one. This is part 2, and they're going to do 4 episodes or 5, I think. And I was listening to the first one, and there was a fascinating woman who was speaking just with so much clarity and like excitement and like knowledge about the bike shop she used to run in Colorado. And there was an interesting thing, like if I say cycling is at a crossroads, I would say, according to what this woman said, that she was talking about like the numbers that her store did with demos, because they had demo bikes that people would come in and then they would take the information, of course, of people who were doing the demos. And she said that consistently there was women who are doing the demos more and then going and buying bikes online, probably because a lot of bike companies do direct to consumer now, like Yeti. They talked about that on the pod. So it's interesting that like there are demographics that just haven't been explored for more ridership, more culture. Women tend to be culture keepers, kin keepers naturally. So I'm just excited to see. Maybe not excited. I'm just curious to see where it goes from here. And I do believe that underrepresented riderships, whether it's along race, class, gender lines, is a thing that I will be focusing on and seeing how that shifts the culture and hopefully shifts the industry towards studying the ship a little bit there.
Yeah, that's I would recommend everyone listen to those. I don't know if the first installment of them that they released a few years ago is behind a paywall, but I would check that out in your Apple or Spotify or whatever you get your podcasts.
Heck yeah. And to wrap it up,
we've got
what podcasts do you recommend this week? I talked about 2 from last week. So what have you been listening to, Ronnie boy?
I found this one really interesting. It was I listened to this on the airplane back from the UK. It was a Freakonomics episode 663. Ricky Williams, who was an NFL star. I can't remember I don't know much about the NFL. I can't remember which team he was on, but he was a big deal. And he was not only a great athlete in baseball and football, but he was also a scholar. Was a dean's list like every year when he was in college and high school, and also a avid cannabis user. And so this episode of Freakonomics is weed a performance enhancer.
Ooh.
And many of you alt cyclers out there, I think, would say yes, it is. It's been my personal.
You're right on the magic dragon.
Newsflash, I am a cannabis user. And boy, I don't never use that word cannabis. I smoke weed. And so not all the time, but I have been known to partake on the bicycle. Yeah. Inhaled on the bicycle.
Yeah.
And so, I've always thought of it as like it's a really good way for me to finish a hard ride if I'm out there and I just bonking and I need some food and I generally need a few puffs or an edible or something, and it really helps me get home and it helps me kind of get in the zone and enjoy the process. And so they said, and the science says that cannabis is not performance enhancing. It actually worsens your performance, not because you're inhaling smoke in your lungs or anything. That's, of course, something else. But it just makes you kind of a little bit more, I don't know, you know, how you feel when you're stoned. And
but you think you're going fast. You're like, whee!
But so Ricky Williams breaks it down, and he's just like, every time the pressure got too much for me in you know, in the NFL or in high school or college or whatever, you know, but they were drug testing back in his day, so he got kicked off the team like over and over and over again, and people thought he was a total loser for this, because he would rather pick marijuana
being stoner
than being over, but he was still performing like really well in the NFL. Not that he was out on the field stoned or anything, but it was just something that he needed to deal with the pressure and just and also to train. The training wise, you know, or if you're smoking like a high CBD content or something, you're going to get some anti-inflammatory properties off that, some better recovery. And they also noted that the performance enhancing also actually comes from enhancing the activity that you're doing. And so they talked about the runner's high, that feeling that you get when you're running, and you get that, of course, when you're cycling too. It may take a little bit longer, but you know, it stimulates that runner's high, like the entirety of your activity. You could basically control it, bring it into your life when you need it,
because you're actually high.
Yeah, you're actually high, and so you're getting your runner's high, and you're actually high, and that helps people not only like look forward to those activities, but complete those activities and make them more fun in many ways. And of course, that's not the whole truth. You should listen to the podcast for that. That's free. Freakonomics, episode 663 with Ricky Williams. Is weed a performance enhancer? So, well,
tune into that one.
I think we're at an hour and 17 minutes here. So let's, folks, thanks for listening. This has been episode 3. Got anything else to say?
No, I've got nothing to say.
Well, folks, this has been Alt Bike Now. We'll see you later.
See you next week. Bye.